So I have my bands here. I get to choose which one of these I want to use on these hip bridges to add some resistance. And some of you guys might want to go with a lighter option, which is perfectly fine. We just have to figure out where you are. I've done it with this before, didn't get quite what I wanted, so I'm gonna jump up to this one and use this band, and I'll show you how we loop in. So after the hip bridges, I'm immediately going into a Goblet Box Squat. So you can see I have a bench here, you could use a chair, you could use a box. I'm gonna have my dumbbell in my goblet hold position. You could use a kettlebell, you could use some form of resistance. Feet are a little outside of shoulder width apart. I'm coming up, right back down, resetting. Notice that I sit right back down, back up. All the way to the seated position, back up. Seated, standing nice and tall, squeezing my butt for hip extension. So I'm resetting every time, control down to my box or my bench, right back up. Squeezing my butt at the top, slowly back down, reset, back up. So the bench or box is gonna force you to reset that bottom position every time. Then I come back up to this good squat position. Tension is going outward. That way it puts the force in my hips as opposed to my knees. So my knees are going out, strong feet into the ground as I stand up, controlled descent, right back up. All right, the first thing I want you to see here is my heels are elevated up on this weight plate. So I need you to find something that's going to allow you to elevate your heels. I have my toes in the ground and my forefoot into the ground. So I have a band here, some added resistance, a pretty good sized thick one. This is the one I was using on the bridges earlier. So what I want to do is I want to pull this band to where it's up right around my collarbone on the front part of my shoulders. I'm just going to hold it here. And then from this position, what I want to do is feet are close together, heels down on this plate. I'm going to come down to where my butt is pretty much, or my back of my hamstrings are touching my calves just about. I'm going to come halfway up, right back down, all the way up. So this is called a Cyclist Squat, because you'll notice how close these knees are together. So this is 1.5 reps. Down, halfway up, back down, coming up. So this band just adds some resistance, a little bit more than obviously just my body weight. But the key here is heels are elevated, feet close together. I'm down, hamstrings are pretty much sitting on my calf. My calves are feeling that. I'm pretty low. My heels elevated allow me to get really low, halfway up, right back down, up. So we're going to do the required number of repetitions. So I went through the first part of this. It's a superset for legs, and we went bam, bam, bam through those. After I go through those 3 exercises, I rest for about 90 seconds, let everything relax a little bit, drink some water, and then I'll go right back through that again, doing the hip bridges, goblet squat variation, and then the cyclist squat. We'll run through that a few times. And then we'll get into the next part of our superset, which is going to start out with pull-up negatives. So I'm going to jump over the bar. I slowly come down, drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down. So take your time coming down. You're jumping over the bar. Really work on that eccentric portion as you come down. That's going to help to strengthen these lats. So after the pull-up negatives, we immediately go into a slightly inclined dumbbell chest press. I'm on my bench, both dumbbells going up at the same time, right back down to the top part of my chest, right back up, full extension through the elbow, right back down, lock out at the top. Dumbbells touch right there on the inside of my chest, and then right back down. So let's say you don't have a bench that you can set on an incline. You can get creative and figure out a way to slightly incline yourself and get this press. So I have my ruck right here on the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit pretty close to it. I'm going to get myself in this incline position. I'm going to do the exact same thing I was doing on the bench. 1, right back here, 2. So I have to stabilize a little bit more because I don't have the full bench doing that for me. And to be honest with you, kind of like that variation a little bit better because of that fact. Because that I have to be a little bit more in control of my body since it wants to move around on my ruck. So I would go with the prescribed repetitions on my slightly inclined press. All right, so then we're gonna go with core 24. It's 2 exercises back to back, 12 and 12. I'm gonna start out with 12 Supermans. So prone, belly down. From here, I'm coming up. I'm gonna hold it 1, 2, right back down. So notice I'm straight through the elbows. I'm straight through my legs. You might not really be able to see them, but I'm lifting arms, chest, my legs. So I'm working really good through the glutes, through my low back. 1, 2, right back down. We get 12 of those. Immediately from there, I'm coming into a V up, suitcase crunch. I'm gonna meet myself in the middle, right back down. Nothing's gonna touch. Feet are coming about 2 inches off the ground. Hands are coming about 2 inches off the ground. Same rules apply. Straight through my legs, straight through the elbows. I'm gonna meet myself with the V ups, 12 of those as well. So we're going core 24, 12 Supermans, immediately into 12 V ups. All right, so to finish this thing out, we have a 7-minute, as many repetitions as possible, AMRAP, of a first exercise here that's going to start off with our band. You need to have some sort of an attachment up high that you can get this to. I'm using a lighter band, and this is going to be a hinged straight arm pull down. So I'm going to step back, and I'm going to get myself into this hinged position. So notice, just like a deadlift that we do, I have a neutral lower back. I'm not excessively arched here, and I'm not flexed or rounded. So I'm finding this neutral position. I'm pushing my hips back, my butt back. I have thumbs up on the band here, if you can see this. And then what I want to do with straight arms through the elbows, I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to let this band touch me right here in my thighs, and I'm rotating my thumbs back into my shorts here. So that's going to get some internal rotation. But with the straight arms here, I'm really trying to tap into these lat muscles, these big muscles that are going to help us get stronger with our pull-ups. And getting into this hinged position is going to set those things with some stretch. So this is just a nice, strong, stable position. And like I said, I'm rotating my thumbs back into my body. That's giving me some internal rotation. Here's the finished position. Notice how straight these arms are. And then I'm going to pull them back and behind me. So I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together as I do this banded straight arm pull down in this hinge position. From there, we're going to jump down on the ground. Push-up variation is a Spider-Man push-up. I'm going to go 10 repetitions. Remember, this is the one where we're going to involve a little core. Notice I'm getting this knee up into that elbow. That's 1. Alternating sides. Now that knee's coming up into this elbow. So Spider-Man push-ups all the way locked out at the top. A little mobility in the hip here, core strength. We're going to accumulate 10 and right back up. So with this AMRAP, we have 7 minutes on the clock, and that clock is just running. This is the rest. I'm going to get up against a wall. I'm going to do a 30-second wall sit. So I have my feet, squat position, just about shoulder width apart, coming down, trying to make a right angle here. Notice my back is up against the wall. I can put my head up against it too, arms out. It's only 30 seconds, so I want to find a nice stable position. I want to work these quads. Try not to slip with your feet. It's 30 seconds. Then from that, clock is still running. We go right back into the straight arm pull downs, Spider-Man push-ups, back up against the wall. Keep it going, clock's running, make it happen.